Hello and welcome to Thought for August the 30th. Our readings are 2 Kings chapter 4, Jeremiah 52 and 1 Corinthians chapters 12 and 13. And our thought is the same care for one another. The believers at Corinth was not functioning very well. Today's chapters 12 and 13 in Corinthians are about their misuse of the gifts of the Spirit that the first generation or two of believers were privileged to possess. It gave added impetus in the establishment of the church. The word church means the body of believers, not the building. However, God was in control, but they largely failed to realise this. After listing all the areas of special ability the gifts created, for example, it gave to one the utterance of wisdom and to another the utterance of knowledge, as we read in chapter 12, verse 8. And Paul says all these are empowered by one and the same Spirit, which apportions to each one individually as it wills. Verse 11. The point is made again in verse 18. God arranged the members of the body, each one of them, as he chose, just as he chose Paul. The verses before are a reprimand to some of the members for trying to get the gifts that appealed to them. And tomorrow's chapter 14 makes it clear that the gift of speaking in other tongues or languages was sought after and misused. It was essential then, and is no less essential today, that true believers have a spirit of teamwork. They must blend their various talents together and become a team, seeing Christ as their head. To the Ephesians, Paul wrote, "Speaking the truth in love, we are to grow up in every way to him who is the head, unto Christ." Chapter 4, verse 15. Today there are no supernatural gifts, but God's inspired messages have now been written down for all to read and absorb into their minds. But the same principles of teamwork will always apply, and Paul's advice is as valid as ever. But God has so composed the body, giving greater honour to the part that lacked it, that there may be no division in the body, that the members may have the same care for one another. If one member suffers, all suffer together. If one member is honoured, all rejoice together, we read in verses 24 and 22 to 26. The first church, or the word is ecclesia in Greek, in Jerusalem did this. It is wonderful when it still happens among true believers today. The chapter concludes, "And I will show you a still more excellent way." And the next chapter, chapter 13, should be familiar to us with its words about love as the most excellent way. It is the cement which binds the body together. It is by the acts of love that we show we have the same care for one another, because love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends, we read in verses 7 to 8. If we really can do that, then what also will never end will, by his grace, be our lives in God's kingdom. Well, thank you once again for joining us for Thought for the Day, where together we can open up the pages of God's Word, knowing that Word to be a lamp to our feet and a light to our path.